my name is Eric, and let me share my screen first. So, I can you see my screen here?
Yep.
Uh, so let
Yes.
me okay, nice. Okay, so let me turn off the pen. So, so hello everyone, my name is Eric Chen, and I am a Flyte contributor with 4 months experience and have about 40 pull requests to Flyte. So let's start it. And today's agenda, I'm not going to share about the lesson I learned from Flyte, but I'm going to share about how the synchronous plugin works in Flyte and the synchronous agent work in Flyte. I think this is really important for data scientists and machine learning engineers to 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 collaborate with Flyte, because if they can be really familiar with how to develop their own plugin in Flyte, then Flyte can be super powerful. And because of that, agent is written in Python and in the Flykit, which is the Flyte's Python SDK. So they only need to learn how Python works and can test it locally. So I think this is a super powerful feature, and I'm really excited to share with you. And later I will share ChatGPT text overview and how the architecture combine all of them. And I bring 3 use case to you, so you can have maybe more, so you can know how powerful it is. Okay, so let's recap what plugin is. So, so let's recap the plugin first. So, Flyte Propeller is the component in charge of executing node text. So normally the life cycle of a task in Flyte. Let me turn on the pen. The life cycle of a task in Propeller will be create a pod and execute the code in the pod and delete the pod, which will consume lots of containers resource. So Flyte plugin is a thing that reduce the task life cycle. So for example, with plugin, we can save the container resource in the task execution. It can reduce to like the life cycle will be like this. You just have to execute plugin in Flyte Propeller. And when execute plugins in Flyte Propeller, we can maybe like, for example, this is the Spark example. You will run the workers in the node, or maybe we can communicate with the external service like Google BigQuery or Databricks Spark or Amazon SageMaker, which is super powerful. And you don't need to create a pod and communicate. You don't need to create a pod and execute and communicate with the external service in the pod. You can just do it in a Propeller, which is faster. Yes. So this is the benefit of using Flyte plugins. And we have a routing mechanism to find the correct plugin to execute a specific text type. Because for example, like this kind of you have to specify Spark and in which text type for Spark. But if you specify the agent service or specify the Databricks, you will go this way to communicate with the external service. But if you change the key to maybe Spark, you will communicate in this way. So we will have a routing mechanism to config map. And if you want to learn more about how Flyte plugin works, Evan Su has introduced it like 2 weeks ago. You can Google for this YouTube video, and it's a super great video. Okay, so let me recap asynchronous plugin. So before this pull request, before synchronous plugin implemented, we have only asynchronous plugins in Flyte. And asynchronous plugins are for tasks which for running long. For example, running query job. Asynchronous plugin interface has three functions, which is uh, create, get, and delete. So take Databricks for example. When running a Databricks Spark job through a plugin, we will create the job, use the create function, and get the job ID. And we will continuously use the job ID to get the status of the Databricks job and wait for it until it comes to a terminal state. And the terminal state can be like succeeded or failure. And asynchronous plugins are really born for these long-running job cases like BigQuery, Amazon SageMaker, or Databricks. So right now is our main character synchronous plugin, and synchronous plugins are for the synchronous API, and which is compared to asynchronous plugins, which might run longer. Synchronous plugin is for job running shorter. And for example, SQL, you can retrieve some metadata from a backend service such as SQL, or you want to get a message response from ChatGPT, OpenAI, or even you want to send a message to Slack channel from Slack API. And synchronous plugins are really born for these cases. And compared to asynchronous plugin have three functions, synchronous plugin have only one function, and it's just a do request to achieve this mechanism. And let's go through the sync agent. And this slide is going to talk about the benefits of the synchronous agent. And this is the architecture of the synchronous agent. So before, Flash Propeller will communicate with external service, like this. The Flash Propeller will directly communicate with the external service. And now we will introduce an agent server. So now Flight Propeller will communicate with the agent server, and the agent server will communicate with the external service. And let me explain the two main benefits to use agents. So the first is that the Flight Propeller are all written by Golang, and which is not easy for data scientists and machine learning engineer to develop the plugin because you need to understand how Flight Propeller architecture works. But right now, if we use the agent server, the agent framework, you don't need to understand how Flight Propeller works, but you can still develop the plugin you want. And it's all written in Python, written in Flyte. So the first benefit of it is that it is written in Python and it is far more easier to develop, and you don't need to understand how the Flight Propeller architecture how it works. And the second is that if you use the agent framework, you can reduce the overhead of executing plugin tasks. And the overhead is transferred to the agent server. And this is really, really important. And so before Flight Propeller has to execute the task and monitor the status of the job. So right now, Flight Propeller has only need to monitor the status of the task, and which can consume less resource. And I think this is really, really, really healthy for Flight Propeller. And for more details, you can use Grafana, open source tool to compare the resource usage between use the agent server and not use the agent server. And as my knowledge, Spotify and is also Spotify is a big fan of both async agent and sync agent. Maybe someday we can invite them to talk about more use case about agent. Okay. So next slide. Okay. So here is an example about ChatGPT plugin. So you have to define a name, and this name can be whatever you want. And you have to specify two arguments in the config. It's really simple. The first is the OpenAI organization. If you have any experience about OpenAI API, you will know what it is. And the next is about the config of the ChatGPT. And you can see the config through this URL. It is a documentation written by OpenAI. And yes, and after you define the ChatGPT task, you can simply just input it in the text. You can simply just run it in the workflow. And later I will show you how powerful it is. So you just have to kind of have the idea. Okay. So before the demo, let me talk about the architecture again. So the whole process of using the agent plugin and especially the synchronous agent plugin and take ChatGPT for example, will be like you can register your code to the Flyte cluster and run it by a Flyte console, or just simply use Python round -- remote to trigger the code. After you trigger the code, the Flyte admin will tell the Flyte propeller to execute the code, the workflow, and the Flyte propeller and when running the ChatGPT job, the Flyte propeller will communicate it with the agent gRPC server, which is written by Flykit and written by Python, and the agent gRPC server will communicate with the ChatGPT service. So this is just core architecture. And yes, let's go through our first use case. So the first use case is that is the Flyte GitHub latest release summary. Let me open the workflow. So here is the workflow, and I have already created a Slack channel for demo. You can see right now my time is 1 a.m. So later the message will send it at 1 a.m. So okay, so you have three inputs, which one is the owner of the GitHub repo. One is the owner of. Let me just open it. So the owner means the Flyte org here, and the repo means the repo called Flyte here. Okay, and the channel, the channel means later I'm going to send a message to this channel called demo, and let me run the workflow and explain the code. Okay, so this is the code, and this is the workflow. So, basically, I just do two things in the task here. So first is that I use the GitHub API to get the latest release. It will return the string here. Here, it will return the text here. Okay, and later I will make my own prompt to generate the message to send to the Slack. And I think the prompt is important because for Slack, the response have to fix within 4,000 characters because Slack you can't send over 4,000 characters in one time and in Slack. So you have to tell the ChatGPT to generate a shorter summary. Okay, and after the ChatGPT give me a response, I just pass it to the Slack, which is pretty simple. And yeah, I think it's succeed. So you can see the workflow is succeed now. It's super fast, like just like 40 seconds. And here is oh no, here is the latest summary. Is the same as my time. So this is one of the use case. Okay. So let me go through another use case, and you can, okay. So this is, okay. So the next is that we can get the latest trend from Medium. So for example, I want to know the Medium, the weekly trend about ML ops from Medium. So I can create one more workflow to do it for me. So this time I'm going to show you how to execute the the, the agent and the workflow in locally. So let me just so I will so this time I will send message to my Twitter account. So let me just execute now and I will expand. So the workflow is simply just three tasks. One is get a weekly article from Medium. Yes. And I just use the Selenium and the beautiful soup to tell me do this. After get a article, again, I have to, for this time, we are sending a message to the Twitter, and the limits of one tweet is 200, 280 characters for a tweet. So you have to tell the ChatGPT so that ChatGPT can help you. And after it, you just get a summary from ChatGPT and just send a tweet to the Twitter. Yes. Okay, it is still, oh, it's already finished. So yes, let's check my demo Twitter account. Okay, so this is my, and so so in the so in this workflow, I chose the flight tag to as my example, which is maybe everyone can take a look of it and like this. But it didn't update for a long time, I know. But uh yes, so it will talk about what flight is happening these days. These articles. Yes. But if you choose tag are more popular, which is update almost every day, it will really like 1 day ago, 5 days ago, 6 days ago, 5 hours ago, 5 days ago, it will really give you the weekly summary of it. Okay, so let me go through next example, which is super super cool. And the third use case is about the YouTube latest summary. So 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 for example, on let me run through the code first. Um, it's like this. So you can choose, for example, uh, you can choose any URL you want. For example, for me is Flyte, my favorite. Okay, so so you just choose the Flyte and I will go to grab the latest video from Flyte and give you the summary. So for example, let's just give it, and I will go to just launch it. Yes, and it's running. Give it some time, and when running, I will explain the logic. So this is a little bit complicated because I have used the dynamic workflow. So let's go through the workflow. This time I just do two things. I will specify the YouTube channel I want, the summary I want, and where's my workflow? Oh, here. So I will get a chunk first. So in this text, I just get the latest video ID, which is this. For example, the latest video ID means the ID here. I want to get the ID here. And if I have the ID, I can use the YouTube transcript API to get a transcript of it. And then later I will chunk the transcript. The reason why I need to split it is because there's some limit. There has an input limit in the ChatGPT, and I don't want to exceed the limit. So I just simply use the 10,000 characters as a chunk to split it. And after that, I will pass it to my dynamic workflow. So I will first post a message on Slack like here. Okay, you can see here. So it tell you that this is the latest video summary. Let's check out it. And then I am trying to I will first save all the I will first summary all the chunk first. And the summary message will have a list to store it. And after that, for all summary message in the summary message list, I will try to concatenate them. I will try to concatenate my message and the summary message. So if it is too long, I will send the summary first about the message. And if it's not exceed the 15,000 character, I will save it. I will still concat to the message, and I will send one more summary at the end. I think you might think the dynamic sub workflow is a little bit complicated. If this case is not written in workflow, it might be far more easier to understand the code. But yes, but through this conditional workflow, you can run it in remotely. So I think this is a trade-off. And yes, you can see that it's running now, and yes, it's running now. Yes, through the and it's almost finished. Okay, so maybe we can wait it. Okay, I think it's finished, right? Yes, it is finished. So basically, if you want to listen to this video, this community thing maybe as podcast, you need to spend like 46 minutes. But if you just want to know what happens, you can just take 5 minutes to see is there any topic you are interested in, and because the summary is kind of have is like a time series. Like if you are interested in this section, so you can probably know that the you can probably know that the message will be like in here, just the portion you can catch by yourself. So which can save your time, in my opinion. Yes, so this is the Flyte's YouTube summary. And there is a bonus example, which is Kevin Su's airflow example. So actually, Flyte right now is integrated with airflow. So with airflow, you have lots of operator can choose. Let me just give you some trailer to see how amazing, how fantastic it is. So again, here is a demo message, and later he will send a message to my Slack channel called "Hello, this is I mean maybe an Airflow agent plugin demo." Okay, here yes. So and I can prove that it's really written in Flyte because through the Flyte. Let me quickly. So I am using. Let me modify the code in the Airflow, and you can just when I executing again in uh I know you might be a little bit confused. Maybe later Kevin Su will explain how it works because you didn't import anything from Airflow plugins, but it just use it. So it's kind of magic. Maybe Kevin will explain later. but when you extend it, yes, like when you execute it, you can run airflow of the operator in Flyte, and it really goes through this place. So it's really cool. Okay. And I forgot to explain the mechanism about how it works locally about the ChatGPT agent. So let me explain it briefly now. So ChatGPT inherit a class called external API task, and it inherit a class called async asynchronous agent executor mixing. And in here, we have wrote about a do function to trigger the function for the synchronous task. And through this class, data scientists and machine learning engineers, they can develop agent in the locally. So it is far more efficient. Yes. So you can ask more question later. Okay. So let me go back to the slide. And I think the use case are this is just some use case, but there are lots of use case. For example, like internal system as the source, because I think in very many big companies, they have lots of notifications for their for for their workers, and you can manage your internal system with Flyte and with the ChatGPT summary. I think it will be really powerful, like YouTube, GitHub daily release, GitHub weekly pull requests, Medium, Hacker News, and send to any communication no channels you want. So I think it's really powerful. And next one. And actually, I think like Flyte has a bot called FlyteBot, and in some of the documentation, like Flyte snakes, they will embed some video. Like for example, this one is Flyte CTO intro. I'm thinking like, can we integrate the ChatGPT summary with FlyteBot? For example, you can just you can just check for every video in the Flyte documentation. Is it provide a summary? If not, we can trigger the workflow, trigger the ChatGPT task, and embed the summary in the documentation and create a pull request for a reviewer. So I think if it is possible, and it will be super helpful for beginner from like me, because for me I have only four months experience with Flyte, and most of the time I want to be better, have better understand Flyte. I have to spend lots of time to listen to the video, to watch the video. But if I have just a summary, and maybe it will be more efficient. Yes. So this is my today's talk. Thank you very much.
That's amazing. Thank you, Eric, and thank you especially because it's really late for you or early. I don't know. Thanks for you. For there are a couple of questions. First one, when you configure the connection with the OpenAI API, if you don't set the organization, should you need to put the API key on the config?
Oh yes. Let me share my screen. So yes, of course. For let me. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So so we will use the OpenAI module and set the secret key in here, the API key in here, and the function here called getAgentSecret will be you have to uh set the API key. Let me just show you. Okay, so you have to you have to edit the secrets in Flyte Agent, then you can use OpenAI key. And I will write the docs later. So yes. So next question.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, by the way, there's a blog post coming up, right?
Oh yes, yes.
Great.
Let me show you. So to help data scientists and machine learning engineer can develop plugin more efficiently, I have written a blog and which will be posted in the Flyte blog, and everyone can go follow it and like this one, and I will go through all the details and try to give you the necessary knowledge to that you can develop the agent plugin more easily, and you don't need to understand the complicated file propeller architectures. Yes, I will try to do it. Yes, I'm trying to do it, and maybe we'll release it in maybe in this month. Yes, after I finish the blog. Yes.
Thank you.
I
Okay,
think
next
the
up.
question on
Mhm.
question on secrets might have to do with like security. So like does agents integrate with Flyte's support for like cloud providers or like an external secrets manager?
Kevin, I need
Yes, it
help.
does. No, I can help answer. Yes, so the secrets are the same as secret requests in tasks, and you need to have those secrets available in your underlying secret manager, eventually in Kubernetes, and that's how they get mounted. So it's completely secure. There is no, you're not hashing it, storing it. Flyte doesn't store it anywhere. It's all going through your preferred secret manager.
Yeah,
By the way,
just
I
wanted
had
to
a
clear
question.
up.
Yeah. I had a question, Andrew. Firstly, fantastic presentation. That was like a bullet train going through like 15 different things, jumping all around in the code. It's just amazing. It's crazy in 4 months, the amount of contributions and the love you have given to the community absolutely deserves an applause. So thank you for your hard work and thank you for being here. I did see a lot of cool stuff in there. I think it needs to be talked about. I think some of the things that people have not realized, that OpenAI plugin is a plugin that Andrew completely developed on his own. But what that does is you can now send messages to OpenAI, get a response, or simply replace it like literally with one line with a native LLM that is running on a GPU node somewhere and not running as a service, only spun up on demand and turned off. And this is useful for many use cases. Like, if I'm getting a YouTube summary, I don't care about 1 second response time. I'm okay waiting a few minutes and I'll get a Slack bot. So it's a fantastic example in which you could drop in Llama 2 and just get it for almost, if you have a GPU resource lying around, almost get it for very, very few dollars. Another thing, I saw Tweet and Slack code that you had written in a task. I think you should make those into agents. Those are perfect do agents, like
No
synchronous agent
problem.
example.
I've
Because
talked
now
about to Kevin before. Yes.
yeah, you'll
Okay,
go much.
no problem.
It'll run much faster. And so yeah, otherwise, just like a lot of fun stuff. Also use Pipelite Run more and give it more feedback. But thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. Okay. So I need to
Awesome.
answer more question.
Yeah, there
Also,
was
you
one.
sneaked in showing Airflow running on Flyte Agents. That is
Yes,
that was a very
it's
sneak preview.
yes. I think Kevin, do you want to talk about it? I think it's really amazing. And actually, Airflow can not run in the locally. It can run it remotely, so it's really powerful. Kevin?
Yes. Yeah, so idea behind it is that we compile the Airflow operator to Flyte text, so we can run almost any kind of Airflow operator in Flyte agent. So it's very useful. Like some of the there's like thousands of Airflow operator, and then in Flyte we only have like 50 or 60 plugin. So if, for example, like one of our customer use Dataflow, Dataproc on GCP, and then we don't support this kind of plugin. So they can just use Airflow, their flow operator in Fly, and then just run it. They don't need to change. They don't need to write their own plugin anymore. Yes.
Nice. Okay. So is there any question I can answer? Let me
No, seems like that's
let
it.
me
Any other question? Yeah, with that, thanks so much, Eric, Andrew. We're doing this for all the time you've spent on the building integration, making fantastic contributions. I will keep building together, and it was great to learn from you. Awesome.
Oh, thank you. I learned a lot. I learned a lot from Kevin Su. He helped me go through the process from zero to hero. So I'm really grateful for his guide. And yes, he really spent lots of time to help me. So yes. Okay, so this is my demo, and you can get all the all the example in here. Here is here is the all the projects, and I have recorded all the videos of it, and it is almost a blog post. Yes, and
Yeah,
I will read a blog post about it. Then thank you everyone.
for sure. Yeah, feel free to add this link to the notes to the agenda. It's great. And yeah, thank you to Kevin for his constant mentorship. Awesome. All right. Yeah, next I was Devin. I don't know if we are kind of short on time. I don't know if 5 minutes is enough for you.
Yeah, I can, I guess, quickly just introduce it. I think it actually it's super relevant to what Hanru / Eric you were talking about. So I think at least just starting the conversation could be cool. It's kind of like an extension essentially of the work you've been doing. Cool. So let me share my screen. I actually have a really funny thing that I guess coincidence, small world. So I guess this is Dosu. What we're working on is using LLM's code understanding to do other things besides coding that we do as engineers. So kind of in the ethos of what Hanru was presenting about is like, how do we do everything that we need to do as an engineer? Now that we have something that can understand code, how do we automate a lot of the other processes? So things like issue labeling, triaging bugs, helping with documentation, are all the stuff that I guess we're working on Dosu. And a really fun fact that came up in that last presentation is when Eric was showing the Airflow task operator, I saw Kevin's GitHub handle. And so when we first launched Dosu with LangChain in July, like immediately, this is like we launched very early, and I didn't think anyone would install the bot. But actually, Kevin, I don't know if you remember this, you were the first person to install the bot, and we didn't have a wait list at the time, and it basically just took things like everything down because you have like 1,000 forks. So it's a really funny, I guess, small world. Yeah, so I guess what I want to go through here is just a really quick demo of kind of what Dosu is. So I touched on kind of the functionality, and I'll just show some examples. Essentially, the current product is a GitHub app that helps do what I just described. So label issues, triage bugs, and help with other kind of tasks. So I think the kind of an example here is, we work with a bunch of open source projects. Really kind of popular ones are like LangChain and Llama Index within the ML ecosystem. But here's an example, I guess, from 2 weeks ago where, someone was created a bug, like ran into an issue. And so you'll see here, this is Dosu bot is Dosu in action. So first it greets users, so it actually remembers its interactions with users over time, which is kind of fun. And then it helped this person debug the issue. So I know we're short on time, so I won't go into too many details. But one thing that we do that's different with Dosu to like other kind of support bots is that it's actually code based. So like here's a really good example of yeah, Dosu using both a previous issue, which was related to this bug, and the code itself in order to suggest a solution. And then, the user saw this, and it was actually the correct solution. They made a PR and fixed it. So that's kind of the ethos that we're trying to follow with Dosu. Is like it's about empowering users and contributors and communities. So like not necessarily auto-generating the PR, but like how do we get more people able to contribute to and be part of like the Flyte community, for example. So that's one example, and then just like I guess Dosu does other things. Here's an example I'll do quickly of it also does auto labeling. You'll see here, but here's a good conversation where actually Dosu's struggling, and so it goes back and forth with the user, and at some point it realizes it can't do it anymore. Like it's like exhausted its knowledge base and actually knows to like loop in a maintainer. So it finds the relevant maintainer and pings them. And so here's just like a really cool example of kind of Dosu working together with the LangChain maintainer to push this issue forward. So helping highlight things that you as a maintainer or community should be focused on, and that can't be like answered purely through automation. And yeah, I guess I'll stop there because I know we only have 2 minutes left. But any questions, comments?
This is fantastic. I had a quick question. How do you prevent two things? Like one is bot fatigue, and secondly, in case of it leading people down the wrong path, like how do you maintain that quality? Right?
Yeah, really good questions. On the bot fatigue side, we do, I guess there's two things. One is like a lot of it is like teaching people about Dosu. So you'll see here, we explicitly call out that if someone hasn't interacted with a Dosu before, we'll say it introduces itself, which helps just gauge expectations. Like it is here for while they wait for a human maintainer. It is not a replacement for. And similarly, like kicking out to a maintainer when it can't resolve an issue. And we also do like intent analysis to see like if users actually want help. Because sometimes a user has everything, knows what the solution is, and it's more for tracking purposes. So trying to gauge that. And then for going down the wrong path, there's no silver bullet. We do our best to like reduce hallucinations in kind of like the way we approach breaking down the problem. But at some point, like it might not get everything perfect, and that's why we think it's like important to like loop in maintainers or even just highlight to maintainers which issues require human input.
Thank you. That makes sense.
Yeah, thank you, Devin. I also have some questions, but probably we'll need to follow up later on with Eduardo and the team. And because it looks fantastic. Thank you, Devin, for joining. And thanks everyone for joining. We are at time. Hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye bye.
Thanks everyone. Goodbye.